Okay, good. So, harnessing the power of video in ELT. Now, before we begin with the webinar on why videos are so powerful and how we might use it in our classes, let's just briefly touch on what we're not talking about. Okay, so although I chose it as the logo, we're not talking about VHS. Probably we don't use VHS in our classes anymore. Okay, we're not talking about the Friday afternoon video. Neither are we talking about the end of term video. We're not talking about passive watching or chilling. So what do I mean by all of this? Well, we're not talking about sticking a video on maybe on a Friday afternoon so that pupils and teachers can have a rest and relax, or a film week at the end of term. And I think this picture from The Simpsons illustrates pretty well what we don't mean, the idea that watching is a chance to chill out and relax. So let's see if this hand tool works. Has anyone ever used video in their classes in this way? Yeah, raise your hand if you have. Let's have a look. Oh dear, I can see a lot of hands raised. It's not all of them though. Many people don't have their hands raised. Okay, so I think hopefully what I say today will kind of ring true with you. I also have my hand raised, as you can see at the top. All right, so certainly not the only ones. I'm just going to clear your statuses now. Okay, so what we're looking at today is focused exploitation of video, and in the session we're going to look at ways to do this. Okay, so why might we use video in class? Okay, why is it beneficial? Why is it advantageous? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to propose some ideas myself, and then we'll move to the chat box to see what you think. Okay, so first of all, paralinguistic features. So this includes intonation, which of course we have in normal listening exercises as well, but also body language and gestures. Okay, so this is something extra we get with video. So students have a clearer context to work out meaning, and when they know what's going on, this is motivating. Okay, so with authentic video, students can engage with the target language as it's actually spoken, so we can learn about pronunciation, accents, registers, slang language. So they might encounter language and context that they don't normally encounter in class. Okay. Finally, video is something that our students are familiar with. Okay, so something that they do for fun. Okay, it's a medium they know. So the idea is let's capitalize on this and bring video into the classroom. Okay. So we've looked at some advantages of video in general, but in this webinar we're going to be looking at exploiting short video, and by that I mean videos that might last between 1 and 5 minutes in length. So before I go on and say what I think the advantages of using short video are, I'd be interested to read your thoughts. So please type in the chat box any advantages of using short video in class that you can think of. What do you think? Okay, motivates debate. Thank you. Getting a discussion going. It's attention. Okay, yeah, so that's maybe a difference between short and long video, getting them engaged. Okay, they're very motivating. Okay, we've got attention coming up again. Okay, not losing concentration. Okay, they see that English is real. Okay, it's not just a subject within a classroom. Okay. I'll just wait for a few more to come through. I can see there are lots of people typing, ready to share with us what they think. Okay, students think English is real. Okay, it's part of their interest. Okay, they're funny. A window on the outside world. I like it, Carme. An image is worth 1,000 words. Yeah. Okay, and examining language. Yeah, examining language and vocabulary. We're going to be looking at that in a second. Something to do with visual support. Okay, well, lots of ideas, I think. Thanks very much for your contributions. Okay, so I'll come up with my idea. So this is something that you've already touched on. Okay, so you predicted this one. This idea that video holds our students' attention. So maybe your students have really long attention spans, but I think you're probably in a minority. Yeah. So when we put a video on in class, we'll have our students' attention at the start, but it can start to drop. Yeah. Partly depending on the content of the video. So what's it about? So a video needs to be well chosen, but also depending on the length. So this isn't just my opinion. I've downloaded this graph from Wisteria, which is a marketing and video analytics company. Okay. Now the y-axis, as I'm showing you with my pen, shows how engaged the audience is, and the x-axis is time from the start of the video. Okay. And you can see the engagement drops off from the start and continues to drop. But this is more pronounced in a long video, of course, than it is with a short video. Okay, so we've got their attention or higher level of their attention in short video. Okay, good. So our students might get the gist the first time they watch a video, and they might understand more with a clearer idea of the context the second time. Maybe the third time we might zone in on particular vocabulary or grammar. So, and this is harder to do with a 2-hour feature film, isn't it? It's easier with a short video. I can see Janos says she's arrived late, and will she have a copy? Yes, you will. It's being recorded. Okay, good. Also, we don't worry about repeating little scenes of a long video interrupting the flow of a lesson. Okay, good. So finally, it's easier to prepare short activities around shorter videos. Okay, so examining grammar, vocabulary, or testing their comprehension. Okay, and with our students' attention levels higher, they'll get more out of them. Okay, good. So let's move on to a basic framework for video tasks before we look at some example tasks themselves. Okay, so our framework. Let's think in terms of activities students do before watching video, while they're watching, and also after they've watched the video. Okay, so I'd like you to interact here again, please, in the chat box. So I'm going to flash up different activities, and I'd like you to type A if you think it's a pre-activity, B if you think it's a during activity, and C if you think it's an activity you would do after watching. Okay, so number 1. Comprehension questions. Students listening out for words, details, understanding the gist. What do you think? Okay, so I think we're looking B maybe as a general consensus, although there's quite a few C's coming in as well. Okay, I think it's between B and C. Okay, then somebody's pointed out that they could be in more than one category. Okay, good. Well, we'll stop there. Let's go on to the next one. Pre-teaching vocabulary as appropriate. Okay, the idea of pre kind of gives that one away a little. Pre-teaching vocabulary, of course, is a bit of a judgment call, isn't it? Because if we've got a challenging video and we don't pre-teach any vocabulary, it might be difficult for our students to understand. But if we pre-teach everything, then they don't have to work out anything for themselves. So we have to be a bit judicious with our pre-teaching. Okay, move on to the next one. Vocabulary exploitation, students working out meaning from context. When would we do that one? Okay, lots of B's and C's popping up there. All right, let's move on. Using the video as an inspiration or stimulus for student production, be that written, spoken, or creating their own videos. Okay, so we're pretty clear on that one. We think that one is something you would do afterwards. Okay. 5, making predictions about what they're going to see, which would provide a reason for them to watch. Okay. Yeah. So again, we've got the prefix pre in prediction. Okay, giving it away a little bit, but yeah, I can see most of you put A. Okay, good. On to number 6, eliciting what students already know about the topic, generating vocabulary and context. Okay, so quite a mix here. Okay, we might do it before, we might do it afterwards. Okay, and one more to go. Focusing in on pronunciation, which might be accents or intonation. Okay, B or C. Okay, thanks very much for your participation on that one. So I'm going to move on to how I see the framework. Okay, I think perhaps the during column, a lot of these you could be doing them while you're watching or immediately afterwards as well. So as you rightly pointed out, they could fit in 2 different columns. Now this is a bit of sort of a bit of theory, a bit of a framework, but now we want to see which activities, give some examples of activities to put this into practice. Okay, so let's move on to the practical side of the webinar. Okay, good. Let's begin with a pre-task. So as you can see, we've got a word cloud here. Now it shows the words from the text I put into the word cloud generator. First of all, in the chat box, why are the words different sizes? Okay, so why are some words bigger than other words? Okay, so the big ones are the topic about. The main topic is bigger, I guess. The importance of the idea, emphasis. Okay, yeah, the topic's dancing. Yeah, quite right. Okay, so the bigger words are the yeah, Pepper. Thank you. You've made it very clear for us there in capitals. They're the ones that appear more times. So the big words are the high frequency words. They appear most often in the text. Okay, so they're therefore the key words in the text. Okay, so the text I put into the generator was the transcript from the video that we're about to watch. But before watching, what can we do with a word cloud? Well, let's make predictions about what the video is going to be about. So I think we know basically, but try to be more specific than saying it's about dancing. Okay, have a look at the words in the word cloud and type any suggestions you might have into the box. What's the video going to be about? Okay, thank you, Suzanne and Pippa. Dance contest, different dancing styles. Okay, so you're using some of the words. A competition in a prison. Yeah, well, it's a good, it's an interesting prediction, Begonia, and you'll see why the word prison shows up actually. Okay, integration. Okay, so you've noticed a place. Good. Okay, so you see that Bristol's a place. Excellent. Okay, Bristol and its culture. Okay, so thanks for your predictions. Of course, we've given ourselves a reason to watch now. We're going to see if we were right or if we were wrong. Okay. Now I might decide to draw certain vocabulary to students' attention. Okay, if I thought it was something that they needed to understand. We're going to have a game of Splat. Okay, so you need to find the word I'm talking about on the word cloud. Okay, so I'm going to describe a word or give a synonym, and you need to find it and type it in the chat box. Okay, now in a classroom, I'd get pairs of students up to the board to splat the word, so physically tap it with their hands, but we're going to use the chat box here. All right, so you need to type in the word in the chat box once you've found it. Okay, first, number 1, a word that means a person in a film or in a book. A word that means a person in a film or book. Okay, Juan Ramon, I think you were the fastest on the buzzer there. You were the first right answer. Well done. Character. Okay, so you were right. You spotted it in the cloud. Okay, on to the second one. A word that means It makes you feel free. It makes you feel free. Yeah, liberating. Okay, liberating was what we were after there. I think that was Anna Maria. Yeah, well done. You found the word, and you can just underline it for you. Number 3, a word that means you don't have a plan. You don't have a plan. Okay, well done, Eva. Yeah, improvisation. Okay, good. Next one. Now you'll probably know this word anyway, but I'm going to just imagine that you found it on the cloud before typing it in. The opposite of worse. The opposite of worse. Yeah, better, and there it is. So I might be drawing comparatives to their attention, maybe highlighting the difference between a comparative and a superlative. Okay. Finally, one more question. The same as very exciting. Well done, Begonia. Good. Where are we? Thrilling. That's where we are. Good. Okay. So again, we've had students sort of up. It's been a race for them. It's been a bit of a competition, which they tend to find motivating. Okay, and it's also very visual, and the rest of class can follow what these two students are doing up on the board if you just project this word cloud onto the board. Okay. Anyway, we've got an idea of the topic now from the word cloud. Now I might personalize the topic. So we don't only have to do this as a post exercise, we can do it before. So it will generate language, and students, of course, like talking about themselves. So questions I might ask students. Do you like dancing? Are you a good dancer? How popular is dancing in your country or region? Maybe even what's your regional dance? Now that could be one for the webinar, okay, because we're all from different regions here. Any regional dances? What's the dance from your region? We've got people from all over Spain and Portugal. Let's see if I know any of them. Sardan, okay. Paulino. My Portuguese pronunciation isn't going to be very good. Jotas. Okay, Sevillanas, of course. So I'm guessing you're from Seville. Jotas, I know actually. Don't know if anyone knows the village of Navalmoral de la Sierra near Avila, but they dance jotas in that village. Okay, chotes. Okay, all sorts. Okay, so many of you have regional dances out there. I might ask you if you know anyone who's a good dancer or a bad dancer. So I'm trying to personalize the topic, getting you to speak about your situation. Okay. Predictions. Now there are other ways of making predictions. We can take screenshots of the video we're going to see. So let's have a look at these two. What are they doing? How do they feel? Why? Now I'm actually going to ask that you respond to this video. What style of dancing are they doing, and what makes you think that? So what type of dancing are these two young people doing, and why do you say that? Any ideas? Okay, hip hop. What makes you say that, Philia? Okay, because of their clothing. Okay, and then I might of course say, but what is it about the clothes that are they wearing? So I want to get more vocabulary out of you. Okay, what is it about these clothes that? Okay, the gestures. The cap. Okay, good. So again, we're generating language for the rest of the class. Yeah, the trainers. Okay, all good language. Yeah, excellent. So we've made lots of predictions, baggy trousers, about the video. We're not going into the video blind. Okay, so hopefully we should understand its content better because of this. So I think we're going to move on to the video. I'm going to pause it midway through for another exercise. So be prepared for that. But let's begin and see if your predictions were correct. Okay.
In this competition, there are 5 dancers in each group, and the best ones in each group go through to the grand final. So, let's meet the 5 dancers in the hip-hop section and learn how and why they dance. First up is Harry Barnes from Liverpool. Why does he dance?
Right, let's pause it there. Why does he dance? I don't know. Why does he dance? Why would anyone dance? Why do people dance? Okay, why would you dance? Can anyone think of any reasons for dancing? Okay, feel free to put them in the chat box. Passion, okay, fun, okay, and we might be using some of the words from the word cloud here. I know passion came up. Makes you feel free, exercise, okay, lots of lovely language, okay, and of course we will see if Harry's reason is the same as what we've come up with, okay, makes you feel happy. So thanks for that. I'm going to continue the video now. I'll just move it back a bit to be sure that we get the words we're after. Let's go.
From Liverpool. Why does he dance? Harry says that dancing is uplifting. If he's feeling sad, he usually puts on a favourite song and just dances.
Okay, so there you go. Okay, so I think you pretty much predicted what he was going to say. So I'm going to play the rest of the video now. You need to listen carefully because I'll be asking you some comprehension questions at the end.
Then he's happy and everything is better. His favourite style is popping. His advice for new dancers? Always, always, always practice. Never stop. Next is Jonadette Carpio. She was born in the Philippines, but now she lives in South Wales. Why does she dance? Because dance is very creative. She invents a lot of amazing movements. Her favourite style is crumping. That's a new dance style which is very popular these days. The face is as important as the body. Here, in this dance, she's a prisoner.
Okay, so there you go. She was dancing as a prisoner. It wasn't a competition in a prison. Okay, good. So we've seen two of the contestants. We're not going to watch the whole video because there are 5 in total. We might typically start with a few basic comprehension questions. Okay, we'll do a few of these. So true or false? Jonadette was not born in Wales. Jonadette was not born in Wales. Is that true or false? Okay, true. Good. A bonus point, I think, if you can tell me where she was born. Anyone remember that detail? Okay, Susanna. Fastest, Philippines. Exactly. Good. Okay. Second question, true or false? Harry always feels happy. False. Good, exactly. He dances to make himself feel happy, but that doesn't mean that he always feels happy. Okay. So comprehension questions, obviously. We might exploit some of the vocabulary, but not only that, we might get our students to try to react personally to the video. So what could we ask them? Well, I'd ask them who their favorite dancer was and why, who they think they should win the competition and why, okay? But then we can also think of bigger activities, okay? So this idea of using a video as a stimulus or an inspiration. Okay, so what about some kind of talent show in the class, okay, where the students can show what they can do, or perhaps getting students into groups to do a presentation on their favorite type of dance. Okay, so this small video could be the start of something much bigger. Okay, good. The tools in question. So I've been talking about using screenshots and I've been talking about word clouds. So I think it's only right that I show you how I came up with these activities. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. Okay. And yes, I think you can see my screen now. I mean, I'm in the webinar at the moment. Let's look first of all at the screenshot idea. Okay, so obviously you've got print screen for the whole screen, but then you'd have to manipulate the image but there's a much simpler way of doing it. Okay, so if I go into my uh, browser, I'm in YouTube. Okay, and I've got a video that I'm going to play through YouTube, and I want to create a prediction activity with a few screenshots. Okay, so I would just look in my computer for the Recortes tool. Here it is. Okay, I've actually got that on my bar at the bottom, and I can just select any area of the screen here. Okay, so I'm just going to select the picture from the video, and then I can copy this image or I can save it. Okay, so very simple there. Look for your Recortes tool and then select the area you want. Now, if any of you've got your computer set to English, the tool is a snipping tool. So if you look for snipping, you'll be able to find it. Okay, good. Now, the second tool we were talking about was a word cloud generator. Now, there are a number of these online. My favorite one at the moment is a one called WordSift. Okay, so I've gone to WordSift. I've gone to the website, as you can see, and it's asking me to paste in a text. So I'm going to go to my transcript of the video. So as I said, this is a video transcript. You could just as easily use a transcript for a listening exercise, and you could just as easily use a reading activity, a text for a reading if you've got it in digital format, maybe something off the internet. So I've copied it, and I'm going to paste it in. I'm going to sift. Okay, and I've got my word cloud, as you can see. Okay, I'm just going to change the style here. Okay, so that was very quick, wasn't it? Now, most word cloud generators, well, they all do what I've just shown you, but this one does something different. So I'm just going to click on like. Okay, I'm going to scroll down, and this one shows me the contexts in which this word appears. So Sharifa likes dancing to rap music like this. He dances in the popping style because he loves dancing like a machine. So I think it's nice to show different meanings of words. Okay, so we can see it as a verb in the third person, and as a preposition as well. Okay, and we can also maximize this and look at the whole text and see where the words appear, which gives us more of a context. Okay, so if we really want to get to grips with the words, this is something that WordSift offers us. Okay, there are also different settings for how many words are shown, but I'll let you fiddle around with this one at your leisure. Okay, so I'm going to move back now to the webinar. Okay, and move back to the presentation. So I think this is a good time to stop to see if there have been any questions. Okay, from this first section of the webinar. I don't know, Brian, if you spotted any questions that have come up, or if anyone wants to ask anything in the chat box now. Okay, everything okay? Yeah, it seems pretty easy. Yeah, it's two very simple tools, and also very quick. Okay, so these are activities that take very little time to make. Okay, great tools. Okay, well, I'm glad you like them, guys. Okay, how did you get to the word sift? Someone's asking me, Carme. Well, I just went to wordsift.org. Okay, so just as you can see on the screen. Someone's asking me if there are any differences here. So Carmen, this idea of looking at words in context is something that WordSift has that Wordle doesn't. Later on, we're going to be looking at an activity with Wordle, which you can't do with WordSift. So it depends on what you want to do. Okay, but we'll look at that other one later on. Okay, good. So I think we'll continue onto the second part of the webinar. Okay, so predictions based on the title. So we've predicted based on a word cloud. we've predicted based on screenshots, but we should always use the title to make predictions, whether it's a video or a listening activity or a reading activity. So, the worst week of my life. What's going to happen in this video? What do you think? What's going to happen in the video we're going to watch? It's quite a morbid exercise, maybe, although my experience is students often like these types of exercises. What could happen? Terrible things. Okay, misfortunes, accidents, a mess of emotions, breaking. Okay, a relationship breakup. Okay, yeah, chaos. Nice. Okay, good. Thank you. So again, we've made some predictions based on the title. We might make them on stills, as we've already said. Now, you don't have to make predictions here. You can just think of them in your head. Okay, you don't have to type them in the chat box. So where are they? Where are these guys? How are they feeling? Okay. What are they doing? And how do you know this? What could they be celebrating? Okay, another one. What's she looking at? Okay. What could she be looking at there? Can you confirm any of the answers from the first slide based on what you think she's looking at? So I'm sort of planting some seeds in your mind here. And then one more picture. So that explains everything. Or does it? Okay. So, we're going to watch the video in a second. And I'd like you to do a task while we watch it. Okay. So in class, I would do this on the second watch, after the first one for gist and for enjoyment. But in the interest of time, and because we're doing the activity with teachers with a high level of English, I think we can do the living graph while we watch it for the first time. Okay, so what is this activity? I want you to draw the graph you can see on the screen on a piece of paper. Okay, so I hope you've got a piece of paper or a notebook lying around. All you need is a y-axis and an x-axis. The y-axis represents mood and the x-axis time. So the video is about 4 minutes long. So what you're going to be doing is plotting the mood of one of the characters over the course of the video. So if a certain character is happy or positive around the 1 minute mark, you'd be putting an X there. If they were more negative, it would be further down. Okay. Now I want you to make notes next to the crosses as you go along, explaining what happened at that point. So this is what the living graph should look like. Okay. So I only want you to plot to the mood of one of the characters. Which character do I want you to plot? Well, if your name starts with A to L, you plot Howard. And if your name starts with M to Z, you plot Eve. So that's your first name. If your first name starts with A to L, plot Howard on your graph. If it's M to Z, plot Eve. Okay. So again, I'm going to stop the video at one point just to show you a different activity, but be doing the living graph all the way through. Okay. So let's remove that video. Let's get to the video we want, and off we go.
And Mel called, asked if you've got the ring.
Just picked it up from the jeweller's.
Could you call her?
Absolutely. Was there something else?
I just wondered if I could have a little look at it.
Oh, yeah. Help yourself.
Oh, it's lovely.
It's been in Mel's family for 150 years. have this rather charming tradition where they pass it down from generation to generation. Eve? What is it?
Oh, I'm sorry. I always get like this about weddings.
Oh, don't.
Right, so I've paused the video as you can see because I'm going to get you to do another task, okay? Now, in the bottom left of your video player, you will see there's a volume control, and I want you to mute the volume for this exercise. Okay, so I want you to turn the volume off. Okay, so you've just seen Howard say, "Don't cry." Now you're going to see Eve say something. You're going to see Eve say something, and then you're going to see Howard respond. Okay, you won't be able to hear what they say, but I want you to watch Eve and then watch Howard, and using visual clues, I want you to predict what they say in the chat box. So what does Eve say, and what does Howard respond? On mute. Off we go.
I always wanted a fairy tale wedding of my own.
Will there's still time?
Okay. So as you could see, Eve didn't look very happy, but we saw Howard's response. But what did they say? Okay, anyone got any ideas? Remember, of course, the idea here is I'm not necessarily trying to get you to give me the right answer. Okay, so it's just an idea. The idea is to generate language and to be creative. So rather than, perhaps I phrase my question, what did they say? The question should be, what could they have said? Yeah. So I would like one. Somebody says she feels sad at weddings. Howard says, why? What do you mean? He apologizes. Okay, so you can see that she's sad. He could well be apologizing. Maybe, okay, she wants the ring for herself. Okay, good. So lots of predictions. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to I'm going to move the video back, and I'd like you to turn your volume back on so you can hear what they actually did say, and then we'll keep on with the video until the end. Okay, so if you continue doing your graphs. All right, off we go.
Oh, I'm sorry. I always get like this about weddings.
Oh, don't cry.
I always wanted a fairy tale wedding of my own.
Will there's still time?
Do you really think so?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Just you believe it. One day you'll have a ring just like this on your finger.
Oh, in my dreams.
Try on. See what it feels like.
Oh, I can't do that. It's bad luck.
Come on.
Oh, it's lovely.
Hi, Mel. I was just about to call you. Yeah, I picked it up on my way in. He's reduced it by 3mm, so it should fit pretty snugly now. What are you doing? No, you're going to be really pleased with it.
Oh, really? It's stuck.
Yeah, they've done a superb job. Well, get it off.
I'm trying.
I know. I can't wait to show it to your grandmother tonight. Eve, I'm getting married in 5 days' time. When the vicar asks me to put the ring on my fiancée's finger, it would be very nice if my secretary was not attached. No, nothing's wrong. Look, I've got a dash, so I'll see you later.
Don't do it, man. It's a trap. You'll spend the rest of your life at IKEA.
We can't let you get married without some sort of send-off. Steve might just say a few words. So, we'd like to wish you and Mel every happiness and hope you have a great day on Saturday.
Excuse me.
I'll get a plumber.
Okay, there you go. So I could see you seem to be enjoying it in the chat box. Yeah, so it's quite a funny video. It's a good series actually. My Worst Week. That's just an extract from one of the episodes. There's it's a two-part series. I think it was originally aired about 20 years ago. So check it out. Yeah, it's a good one. Now you've made your graphs. Okay, so hopefully you were able to do them. You weren't too engrossed on the video. You would my worst week, Rosa. Okay, you would. The aim now is that you're in pairs, and half the class has Howard, and half the class has Eve. So you would uh, give a summary of the video from your character's point of view. Okay, so those of you who have Howard would read what happened from Howard's perspective, and then those who had Eve would read what happened from her perspective. Okay, this idea of a living graph. So I mean, we might use these living graphs in other things, of course. So a student could plot their summer holiday or plot their previous week with notes. It's just a different way of putting a spin on practicing the past tense. Okay. Good. So what else might I do after this video? Well, I might use a Venn diagram. Okay, so students come up with words to describe the characters. Which words can be used to describe Howard? Which words can be used to describe Eve? Which ones can be used to describe both of them? I might get students in groups to do this and then get groups to present their Venn diagrams and justify their choices. So what in the video did you see that makes you give Howard or Eve this adjective or both of them? Okay, of course there are two characters here. I could just as easily add another circle if there were more. Okay, good. Who said what? So that's a common exercise around a video segment. Quite simply, you just give students sentences and they need to listen out for which character said them. Okay, and then afterwards we check for understanding of the sentences. They'd have heard them in context and had their visual clues. It might be functional language that I wanted to highlight, as you can see here. Okay. We've looked at using a word cloud to make predictions and draw attention to vocabulary, but we could also use them after watching. So for example, what about getting our students to build up a semantic field? Okay, so how many words can you find here that relate to marriage? Okay, so we're actually going to do this. How many words can you find here that relate to marriage? Put your answers in the chat box. Okay, ring, just finger, married, family, happiness, ring, wedding, married, tradition. Okay, great. There are lots, lots and lots. Okay, vicar as well. Yes, a fairy tale, lovely. And obviously some students wouldn't all get the same ones and they could learn from each other. Okay, so they wouldn't all have the same list. And then if you got your students to talk about marriage in a follow-up task, they'd have lots more vocabulary at their disposal. Okay, good. We can also use word clouds for students to unjumble sentences they've heard. So I wonder if anyone can do this one for me. Can anyone unjumble this sentence? Now you heard it in the video. Who can have a go? I always wanted my own fairy tale. Yep, Susanna, I always wanted my own fairy tale wedding. Exactly. I always wanted a fairy tale wedding of my own. I think, Virginia, that's the exact sentence. Okay, but I think we're all there, obviously. We're all there more or less. Okay, so this can have an added dimension as well, this task. If a word's bigger, it needs to be used more than once. Okay, so how would you decide what sentences to choose? Well, you might want to highlight word order or certain vocabulary or spelling, perhaps words that are pronounced unusually. It could be anything really. Or it might be that the sentence contains an idea you want to develop. So for example, I always wanted a fairy tale wedding of my own. I would probably say to the students, well, what is a fairy tale wedding? And what is your idea of a fairy tale wedding? Okay, again, sort of personalizing it. Okay, good. Number 2, who's fastest? Can anyone unjumble this sentence for me? You spend the rest of your life in IKEA, right? Begonia, yeah. Fastest, very well done. Okay, so this one's a stereotype, isn't it? I mean, is it fair? Yeah, what other stereotypes are there? You know, how much truth do they have in them? Again, so I could develop the sentence. Okay, third one. Anyone do this one for me? One day, yep. It's an excellent start, Juan Ramon. Yeah, exactly. One day you have a ring just like this on your finger. Okay, good. So it's this idea of I'm focusing on a vocabulary here. So to have a ring on your finger, meaning to be engaged or married. So I wanted to highlight that expression. Okay. Wow, look at this last one. So this one's it's a bit longer, and as you can see, some words have to be used more than once because they're bigger. So this one takes a while to work out. So I'm just going to read this one, okay, because we're running out of time. So here goes. When the vicar asked me to put the ring on my fiance's finger, it would be very nice if my secretary was not attached. Okay, so the and my are used twice. All right. And that this one would be maybe for a slightly higher level, or we'd have to give them a bit more time. Good. So bear in mind, what do we need to bear in mind? Okay. So when we're using a different tool to make these word clouds, to say Wordle rather than WordSift, there's something we need to be aware of. And I'm just going to show you that. So I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, and this time I'm going to go to the Wordle. Okay, so you have to use this one in Firefox or Explorer. You can't use it in Chrome because Chrome doesn't support the Java plugin. In any case, you click on Create just as before, and we need to paste in text just as before. This time I'm pasting in a sentence, aren't I, rather than a full text. So I'm going to copy that sentence, paste it in, and go. I'm just going to put the layout in horizontal. Okay, so we've got a problem. And the problem is that not all of the words show up because sort of grammar words or words like articles such as a or the, they don't show up. Okay, we're focusing in on the vocabulary, but to do this task, we would need all the words to appear. So we can just go to language, do not remove common words, and now we've got the sentence. Okay, we've got the words that are in the sentence, and we can do the task. Okay, so that's something you need to be aware of if you want to do that type of task. Okay, good, excellent. On to next idea. Okay, so dubbing is quite a creative activity for our students. Okay, so you would give students a portion of the video, and they need to come up with an alternative dialogue. So it might be a real marriage proposal. Eve is upset because it's a cheap ring. It could be a celebration of something else. So there's a chance for students to be creative, yeah, or funny, and they can use some of the vocabulary and structures they've learned. A tool for this, which I've shown at the bottom, is this tool called Clipflare. So this is this European funded tool, okay, and you can upload videos or use videos on the internet. You can revoice them. You can add captions. It's a very detailed tool, but if there are any technological wizards out there, then have a look at it. Okay. It's also something, of course, the idea that it's not just teachers using it, but it's students using it. Okay, so if you've got a computer lab in your center, it might be something to look into. Okay, good. Right, let's move on to the final section of the webinar, the final section of ideas. Okay, and then we'll ask questions at the end of this one. Silent video. Okay, and silent video I've written surely not. Okay, so does that make sense? Silent video? Because where's the language input for our students? Okay, there isn't any. Okay, so our students are going to have to come up with a language. So let's see what we can do with this video. So I've called this activity back to back with and I've shown you a little picture here with a twist of line, back to back with a twist. Okay, so what do I mean by back to back with a twist? Let's explain it. Students work in pairs. One student watches a segment from the video, which is on mute, and provides a running commentary to their partner who's facing the other way. So one student essentially narrates the video to their partner. Okay, now that's nothing new. This is not a new activity, but I've called it back to back with a twist because I want to give it a fresh angle. Okay, so how have I done this? They tell a lie. Okay, so you're narrating the video, but you tell your partner a lie about what happens. The partner then watches the same segment. Okay, can they spot the lie? Okay, can they spot the lie? All right, now so I've written here, why not? Okay, silent video, why not? Now my colleague Brian is going to narrate the first 20 seconds of a video. Now you're not going to see what's going on. You need to listen to what Brian says very carefully. Okay, so when he's finished narrating, you will then watch the video, those 20 seconds, and try to spot his lie. If you can spot it, put it in the chat box. Okay, so Brian, are you ready to narrate the video, those 20 seconds, please?
Yes, I'm all set here. So I'll get started. I'm gonna actually watch the video here on my mobile while I do it and narrate it for you. So first 20 seconds with a twist. Yeah, here we go. So let's see. Okay, well, I can see a little boy. He's running down some train tracks, and he's waving a stick. He's pushing a tire. He runs past some cows, and there are some birds. There's a lady doing some washing. He looks bored, but he sees some money in the tire, and then he looks very happy. Okay.
Okay, thanks very much. Okay, thanks, Brian. Good. So Brian narrated the video for you then, but he said one thing which was not true. Okay, so let's have a look at the video and let's see if you can spot his lie. If you can spot it, put it in the chat box, please. Okay, Begonia, you're fast today. You're quite right. There were sheep, weren't they? They weren't cows. Okay, so that was the lie. Well done. Okay, so as you can see, he's found himself some money. Let's continue watching the video for another 20 seconds. Okay, this would be when it was the partner's turn, of course, but we're not going to do the exercise again because of time. Okay, so let's continue. Right, good. So you can see, Thelia, a high level of speaking skill. Yes, but that's a good point, Thelia, and I'll move on to that in a second. Now you can see that he has imagined what he's going to do with the money, and then he's seen things he can buy with the money. What can he? What's he going to spend the money on? Okay, so again, this is a little prediction. What do you think he's going to spend the money on? Because we're going to see what he's going to spend the money on in the rest of the video. Ice cream, Eva thinks. A book. Shoes. A toy. A new tire. Okay, something for someone else, eh? He's going to help someone else. Okay, interesting. Something. Okay, we're latching onto this idea, I think. So let's find out what he does with his money. Okay. Good. Kindness is everywhere. Yeah, it's a nice, cute. It's a nice video, isn't it? It's quite moving. So I put that at the end with a reason in mind. Let's finish on a kind of uplifting note. Yeah. So it's quite a thought-provoking, good message for students, Carmen says, and that's something I was going to move on to. Okay. So what would you? I think this could be a good stimulus for a speaking task or a writing task. What sort of questions might you ask your students after this video? Okay, if you wanted them to talk about this maybe in pairs or to do some writing, where would you take it? What would you do with it? Okay, any ideas on this? Yeah, okay, so would you do the same? Okay, so nice practicing the conditional. Yeah. Okay, nice, a good idea there. Money and happiness, values. Okay, good. Okay, some nice ideas coming through. Maybe I might ask my students what they would do if they found 50 euros. I guess 50 euros is more than 50 rupees, so could make it a bit less. What would they buy and why? Have they ever done something like that in their lives? Raquel says, yeah. So again, similar to an idea I had. When was the last time you helped somebody, or you performed an act of kindness, or you made somebody's day, you made somebody really happy? Or when was the last time somebody did that to you? Okay, so I think the theme is kind of thinking of others before yourself, isn't it, a little bit? So there are lots of directions you could take this in. Okay, so somebody mentioned that narrating is quite tough for students of a lower level. So lower intermediate, they could do it with, the speech would be a bit more broken, just about do it. I think B2 probably wouldn't have a problem, and certainly higher than that wouldn't. But beginner students, we can't just tell them to narrate a video because they won't have the language. So we need to adapt the task. All right, how could we adapt it? Well, we might choose a video where the action changes more slowly. Now this was fast, okay? Of course, we can play a video through media player, like the Windows media player or VLC, and they let you change the speed of the video. So we can slow it right down to give students more time to formulate what they want to say. We might allow students to see the video before they have to narrate it. Okay, they've got more of a context then. We could make it a written activity, so students write a summary as opposed to a running commentary. Okay, and they write a line in their commentary, in their summary. Or perhaps we just get them, rather than narrating, they just have to say, let's say 4 things about the video. Just 4 simple things, and one of them is a lie, and the other partner has to spot that lie. Okay, or you could make it fewer things, 3. Now, of course, for really beginner levels, you might need to feed in some of the language here that you want them to use. So you might have to pre-teach a certain language. at lower levels. Okay, but I think it can be adapted. Okay, good. So we're almost out of time. Yeah. Hopefully I've been able to show you why you might use video in class and give you some practical ideas about how to use it. Okay, I've presented a few ideas today. There are lots more ideas out there, of course. I've just it's the tip of the iceberg, really. There's a few recommended websites I've thrown up here. We don't have time to go into them now, but log on, have a look. Because you'll find links to videos, lesson plans, interactive video activities. So check out these web pages. Okay. If you're wondering where the videos were from, I'll tell you. So the idea today has been to show activities that could be adapted to any video. Okay, not so much to show you the videos, but the activities you can adapt to lots of different videos. But where were they from? Well, the Young Dancer program is from the BBC, and it's from a Pearson book which is called Wider World, which is for secondary students. It's coming out next year. And the Worst Week is from an adult's book called Speak Out. Okay. The final video is from a charitable organization called the Nike Foundation. Okay. So they empower communities, they educate communities in India. Okay, and this was a video that they made. All right. So if you want to get in touch with me about anything that's come up in the webinar, there's my email address. Yeah, feel free to add me on LinkedIn as well, or follow me on Twitter. Check out our blog. So myself and Brian and my other colleague Elena Merino, we write articles on this about anything related to ELT, really. I wrote a blog on WordSift recently. Okay, you probably noticed it's my new favorite tool. Okay, and finally we've got the Pearson website at the bottom if you want to look at any of the books. Okay, but just a couple more minutes. I don't know if anyone has any questions they want to clear up now. I don't know, Brian, if you saw any questions popping up that you think I should answer.
No, I didn't see any questions. Maybe some people have a few now coming in. Some about accents coming in. Oh, about your accent, actually.
Okay. It was about my accent? Oh, if it was about my accent, so I'm from the south of England. I was brought up near London, but then I went to university in the north of England in a place called Durham. And I probably have aspects of my speech that are from the south and other aspects that are from the north. So I say grass, for example, which is northern. I don't say grass, okay, which is southern, okay? So anyway, that's a little bit about the accent. I think we had another question. Somebody asked a question about the recordings. Yeah, no, there is a nice cathedral in Durham. Quite right, Juan Ramon, okay? Yeah, the recordings will be where you signed up to this on the Pearson webpage. There's a link. There was a link to sign up, and there was a link next to that to access the recording. Now they won't be put on immediately. We'll probably wait until we finish the webinars next week, but they will be up there. Okay, at the Pearson ELT webpage where you signed up, the recordings will be made available in the very same place. Okay. If there's anyone who arrived late and would like to see the start of the webinar, it is being repeated on Friday at 10 o'clock. So feel free if you missed some of it. Okay. Otherwise, as I say, the recordings will be available. Okay. Okay, guys. So all that remains for me to say is I'll just turn my video on, okay, to say goodbye. So thanks very much for coming. Thanks for taking up some of your time to attend the webinar, and thanks for participating as well, because it wouldn't have worked without your participation. Okay, so you made it what it was. So I appreciate that, and I hope you have a good evening. Bye for now.